Hi all, welcome to Learn Python. In the previous tutorials, we have introduced functions, positional and keyword arguments, print versus return, and we have also talked about powerful functions like map and reduce, which are basically the common techniques used in functional programming. We are here talking about another useful function, which is reduce function and how it works in Python. One more thing, if you are following my tutorials in that sequence, you can also look at some of the exercises which I have included. I have also included few more examples which I have not discussed in the video tutorial to save time, but the examples you can see in this code file. There are some exercises also included in the same code file and solutions also given, but I have done hide code for that. So I would suggest you just try implementing those exercises yourself, and if you can't do, then you can look at the solution. You can double click there and you will be able to see. And then we will talk about reduce function in Python. For example, this is the exercise and here is the solution which I have kept hidden. If you want to look at the solution, you can double click here and you can see the solution. Let me hide it again. Now, reduce function in Python, what does it do is, as the name suggests, reduce function basically reduce or fold. It works on the folding, or we can say combining or collecting the result in one single item. So how does it work basically? Before we look at the function and its syntax, let me just tell you that it works on recursive principle. If you are aware about how recursion work in any programming language, it works like that. It will take a function or any callable. In the last video we have talked about what is a callable. It can be a function or class or something like that, and it takes iterable. It also take one more additional argument. We will talk about that later, but iterable, suppose it is a list. So what it does, it in an iterable we can have multiple elements. For example, suppose we have 10 elements here. It will first take first 2 elements of that iterable and apply this function on these 2 elements, right? Only these 2 elements. So first it will apply whatever function we are using on these 2 elements and it will give us the partial result. Then it will take another element from the list, it will again apply the function and again provide the partial result, again for next element and so on. So it will keep on applying the same function iteratively for the next element, and finally it will give us the cumulative result, right? We will get the result here. We will see some example where it becomes more clear, and we will also talk about what else can we use if we don't want to use map, reduce and filter, why these functions are popular and what are the alternatives of these functions in Python. Python is a very rich programming language, so we have multiple ways for doing so, and we will talk about those ways also. So let's see some example where we are writing code for reduce function. Let's start with very simple function which we have used earlier also, adding 2 numbers. So suppose I want to add 2 numbers and I am using this functions add num. So this add number is taking 2 arguments a comma b, and it is just returning the sum of these 2 numbers a plus b. Very simple function, right? And if we have a list of elements, for example, I have a number list which is these numbers. In this I have 10, something like that, 12, 23. I'm just randomly typing anything, minus 56, whatever. Okay, these are the elements. Now my task is to add all these numbers together. Now how we can add these 2 numbers? Now if you already know some Python programming, you know that there is a sum function, and we can directly use sum function on this, and which will give us sum of these numbers. Let me show you here in the next code block, so we will get the sum of this thing. But here, for the purpose of understanding, we are writing simple function and we are seeing what are the different approaches to do the same task. If we are not aware of the sum function and if we want to do it manually, we want to write the code from scratch, right? So maybe you can use a for loop. If you use a for loop, how you would do? I will leave this task for you. Use the for loop to find the sum of all these elements in the list, and that's very simple. But you need to store those results, so maybe you will create an empty list and then you will iterate through all the elements in the list and you will do that thing. So I hope that kind of for loop you can do. Now here we will see how we can use reduce function to do this task. So to write the reduce function, and before I write reduce function, let me tell you that for this thing you can definitely write the lambda function, and the lambda function will look like this: lambda a comma b, and this would be a plus b. So it is simpler way to write lambda function, right? This is also a part of functional programming, to use lambda functions or anonymous function. So let me show you how you can use reduce function here. So for that you need to use reduce, and when you use reduce, what it takes is, okay, I can't see the documentation here for this function. Usually when we write a function and we are not sure what all parameters it takes and we want to see the documentation, our IDE suggests the documentation. In Colab you might have seen that it was suggesting me the documentation every time, like I was writing the sum function, it was suggesting me. And if we don't see the documentation, we press Ctrl plus space from our keyboard to see the documentation for that function. But I can't see the documentation for this function because reduce is not an inbuilt function in Python. It is there in the module functool. So we need to use that module here, functools. So from functools, I am importing reduce. And we have talked about it earlier also, that if we want to use a particular function from a module, we need to first import it, right? So that we can use it. And definitely it should be installed also. Now I want to use reduce, so let me try reduce. Now I can see it's a built-in function or method, right? And I can click here or I can hit tab. It will automatically fill up that function for us. And here is the documentation. So this function basically takes a function or a callable, which we have talked about. It takes a sequence or iterable, and it also takes initial. Now this initial argument or parameter is optional. Whenever you see some parameter is optional, means you can avoid giving that parameter, then it is written in the square bracket. So in any function definition, if you see multiple parameters and if some of the parameter is in the square bracket, means it's up to you. You can skip giving the value of that parameter. Fine. So as of now, I'm using these two parameters, functions and sequence. So let me use the function here first. So I want to use this function. I can use this function add num function, or I can directly write the lambda function here, whatever I want to do. Here I need to give the iterable, so my iterable is num. And let's see what happens when we run this code. Oh, it says add num is not defined because I had written but I had not run this code. Now it is defined. Let me rerun this. Yeah, we get the output 110. So here our focus is to get the result. Our focus is not how we are getting the result, but behind the scene reduce function is working recursively. It is adding up elements one by one and giving us the result, right? But how can we see how reduce function works? Because we are just getting the final output. We are not sure that it is working on the logic of apply it to two elements, then use the result and repeat the process. So how can we make sure that how reduce is doing the calculation? For that, in this function definition, we can add some print statement
which prints the intermediate steps for us so that we can see what reduce function is doing behind the scene, right? So to add the print statement, we are using again the format string method. If you remember, we start with F. And here I am using empty placeholder. In the empty placeholder, I want to write the first number it is taking to add up the numbers, and plus I am again using empty placeholder, and in that I am putting the number b equal to, I am using empty placeholder once again, and here I am using a plus b, sum of these two numbers. So when we run this print statement, let me show you what does this mean if I run this function again. So now this function includes a print statement. Now if we rerun the reduce function with the updated add num function, so it should show us all the steps which it is doing, because we have added the print statement to understand how it is working. And let's see the output. We get here the output clearly defined that firstly it is taking the elements 10 and 12 from the list. These are the first two elements in the list, and it is adding them. When it is calling the add num function, a becomes 10, b becomes 12. And because we are printing this string here, so So it is giving us that what calculation it is doing. It is doing 10 plus 12 equal to 22, and obviously the output or the return of this function is this a plus b, which is 22 in this case. So 22 is there, but we are not seeing 22 because it is working iteratively. If you know little bit about recursion, it is working recursively, means now this 22 would become the a for the next calculation. So 22 is a and the next element 23 is b. So 22 plus 23, it is here. You can see in the next line of your output, 22 plus 23 is 45. Again the 45 becomes new a. So 45 is a, and next element here I have also used 45, so it is b, and 45 plus 45 is 90. Again it is going recursively, so 90 becomes a, minus 56 becomes b, and we get this calculation and so on. So finally the last sum is 110, and we get the last sum because the function has to return whatever there is the final output. So this is how reduced function is working. It is first of all taking two elements, applying the function on that, then iteratively using next element from the iterable or the list, and finally giving us the consolidated output, the final sum it is giving to us. So this is how it works.
Now suppose you want to add these numbers which are there in the list, but you want the initial sum to be a fixed number, right? Initially this should be at least this much. The sum should be at least this much. Then you can use one more argument in the reduce function, and that was the optional argument which we have discussed earlier. So how we can use that is, we need to use reduce, and you can use tab from your keyboard. Here we need to give the function. So this time I am using lambda function. Lambda of a and b is a plus b, and I am giving the iterable here, which is the num, which is the list which we have created, and here I want to give some initial value. So initial value suppose is 100. So what we are trying to do here is, we are saying that initial sum should be 100 plus 10, and then it should start doing those things. So let's see what's the output. Oh yeah, output is 210, because here we have used this lambda function and we did not use those print statement. And let me show you the output when we use add num function, so that it is more verbose and we will see how it is working behind the scene. So use the add num function instead, because it has a print statement as well, and num, and start with 100. So we see that it is taking 100 as the first element, right? So first element is 100, so it is by default going to add in 10, and then it is adding all these numbers. You can think about the use cases when you have some minimum bar that this should be there at least, and then we want to add up things as we have more data point. So in those cases we can use this kind of reduce function. We can also combine map, reduce, filter, lambda, all these functions which we have studied in functional programming. We can also combine and we can make complicated functions. Like few years ago, Google has developed algorithms to manage big data, and the name was map reduce, and they were inspired by using map and reduce function behind the scene. Although over the years we have many other alternatives which are even more effective, and those have replaced map reduce algorithms. And in Python also, like we have talked about these aspects earlier, Python was not that much into functional programming, but because of huge demand from the community, Python has implemented and introduced the anonymous function, map function, reduce function, filter function from functional programming, and it becomes very popular. But we see that there are so many more effective, more efficient and Pythonic way to do these things. Like we have seen that if we want to add these numbers, we don't really need to do these kind of things. We have inbuilt some function in Python which produces some of elements in the list. For example, if we want to find out minimum or maximum, we directly have min or max function to find the minimum or maximum element from the list. So we don't need to use reduce function in those cases, but still we should have an understanding, and sometimes we might find it useful to combine map, reduce and lambda functions and probably filter function to make our code shorten. So in programming usually there are different coding styles, and it depends upon what coding style you prefer to use, and You just should have an idea about the basics of our different coding styles, and then you find your own way of doing a particular task in programming. So as you move forward in your coding journey, you should have the basics of all those. This was little bit about functional programming. We will see little bit about object oriented programming concept in Python also, and these topics are not at all limited to data science or analytics users, because these are programming concepts and these are useful for anyone who is using any programming language, or specifically because we are implementing in Python, so who is using Python for any purpose, these tutorials are useful for anyone. For data science specifically, you need to focus on libraries which are related to data science. So in the upcoming tutorial, we will talk about data structure in Python. We will talk about the primitive and the common data structure in Python, not the advanced data structure. And then probably we will talk about the libraries which are used for data science and analytics like NumPy, SciPy, Pandas, Matplotlib, Seaborn, Scikit-learn, etc. If you want me to talk more about advanced data structure or object-oriented programming concept or anything like that, or maybe any other particular topic, you can write it in the comment box. But otherwise I would be focusing on data structure, and then I will move to using Python for data science or analytics. You can just keep on deep diving between these topics, like you can talk about list comprehension, you can talk about generators, you can talk about decorators, you can talk about recursion in Python. So there are many things in many topics which can be covered when we talk about programming concept in Python. But the objective of this playlist was to make it for beginners. I will see if I can add more videos on these topics as well. If you need videos on these topics, please write it in the comment box. I will add the videos accordingly. Now let me quickly summarize what we have learned so far in this tutorial. So functional programming, we have talked about this. Functional programming is a programming paradigm. There are different ways of defining the programming structure. So in functional programming, we have functions inside functions and so on. So basically function take another functions as input and provide some output and so on. So basically data flows here from function to function. So this kind of a structure you will see here in functional programming. And in functional programming, basically it works on some principles like we have recursion rather than loops and other control structure which we have talked about, if else and for loop, while loop. So this style works on recursion. This style works on pure functions. So pure functions means the functions which remains intact and which does not change the global variable, right? Which just takes some input and every time give you the same output for those input values. It doesn't change anything in global environment. So those function, and basically we have high level functions, so which takes another function as the input. So these kind of concept it works on. And in functional programming, we have talked about anonymous functions or the function with no name, which was lambda function. This we have covered in a separate tutorial. We have also talked about map function in a separate tutorial, and we have also talked about filter function in a separate tutorial. Filter function only works when we have just one iterable and function with just one input. We cannot have multiple inputs here. So function with one parameter only, and the function should be returning booleans always. So if the function returns true and false, then only we can filter, because those values which are giving us true, that would be filtered by this function. So this we have covered in the previous tutorial. In map, we can have one function or maybe any callable and one iterable or maybe multiple iterable. So this we have discussed. In this particular tutorial, we have talked about reduce function. So reduce function, it works on function or any callable and iterable. These are the arguments which we need to give, right? And of course, we can give additional argument, which is initialization or initializer, something like that. So iterable should be there. If we don't provide any iterable, probably it will throw some error. You can run this code and check this. So here what it does, it first of all take two elements of this iterable and it applies this function here. So first of all it applies the function, and after that it use the next element and apply the function again, then next element apply the function again. So basically it apply, then it use the next element, and then it iterate or repeat. This is how reduce function works. So we have seen, for a simple example, if we were having a function which was suppose which is taking two inputs A and B and which is giving us the product A into B. So for this lambda function, if we want to apply reduce function, how will that work is we will write reduce here. But to write reduce here, it is not in the Python's standard library. We need to first import it. So how we will import it? We will import it from functools module. So from functools we need to import this, or we can say if we are importing the entire module, we need to write here functools dot reduce like that. From functool import reduce. And how we can use that is, this is the function. Here we need to give some iterable. So any list or any iterable we can give here. And optionally we can give some initial value. Because it is optional, that's why it's written in the square bracket. And when we will do this, so suppose it is a list, it will do multiplication for each element of the list in the iterative manner. And if you have given the initial value, first of all it will take that initial value and it will give the multiplication here. So for example, suppose if you have here number 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and suppose here you have 20 as the initial thing, and definitely you have this function. So what would be the output here? It will first take this as the first element, this is the second element, and it will apply this function here. So you will get 20 as the first result. I hope it is clear for you. In the next tutorial, we will start our discussion about data structure in Python. But if you need any more tutorial from programming concept like print statement, string operations, and as we have discussed object-oriented programming, any other particular concept, you can write it in the comment box. I will try to make a tutorial on that also. If you like my work, please show your support by subscribing to the channel and sharing it with your friends. Thank you for watching.